Hey there guys, today we're going to be talking about how to train. This is my introduction to training series, and so let's go over that. Training, the most important thing you can do is train on a regular basis. Simple as that. Train 3 times a week. What training does, it improves you faster than anything. It's going to, you're not going to need tutorials as much if you train on a regular basis, is what I mean. I've been, I've been tricking seriously for about 1.5 to 2 years now, and this is when I've made the most progress because I've actually gone out, practiced on a regular basis. I've been interested in tricking since 2006, so for about 9 years, and I watched so many tutorials because I love watching tutorials. I think it's so cool. I think I love learning how tricks work, but that's what tutorials do. Tutorials teach you how tricks work. They don't teach you how to trick, per se. Does that make sense? If you want to learn how to trick, you have to go, do the trick. You have to, right? You have to physically do the trick if you want to learn how to do the trick. Tutorials just kind of give you an idea, kind of give you a sketch of how it's sort of done. So how many times should you train? You should be training, I think, good numbers 3 times a week. The way I think about it is the more sessions you have per week, the more exhausted you're going to be. But the less sessions you have per week, the slower you're going to improve. So you got to find a balance. I think 3 is a good balance. It seems to be the number with most trickers. 1 day a week is probably the most fun because you have the most energy. But again, you're not going to improve nearly as much, and it's also a little bit dangerous because your body isn't as prepared as it would be if you train on a more consistent basis. 2 times a week is pretty good. It's kind of like 3, but a little bit less. As long as you space it out properly, it's good. 3 times a week is my favorite. Seems to be the perfect amount. 4 times is good if you really like tricking a lot. I like 4 times when there are events going on, or gatherings or whatever. The reason I like 3 more is because it makes each session more fun. Training 4 is, I don't improve as much per session, if that makes sense. Even though I am, it's just spaced out more. So I figure, since I have more fun and improve more per session, might as well go with 3. 5 times or more is really tough. It's kind of like, it's like a job at that point. You can do it for a few weeks here and there, but I think it's something that you should only be doing literally as a job. Where do you want to train? I like gyms. I'm kind of a shy guy, so gyms give me the proper environment where I can just go 100%, don't have to think about it, don't have to worry about anything. You can also run into other trickers, which is nice, if not other people who are potentially interested in tricking. What kind of gyms do you want to go to? You want to go to gymnastic facilities, cheer gyms, taekwondo gyms. Those are the 3 main ones. If you're lucky, proper tricking gyms. Parkour gyms are good. Also trampoline places are good. Those are probably the main places you want to go to. I got some links in the description that can help you out with that. Alternatively, you can trick in your backyard on any kind of grass, but it is a little bit more hazardous, but not to say that it can't be done. I know a lot of trickers who tricked on grass and got really good that way. That's perfectly fine. It's something that I couldn't do personally because the shyness just overwhelmed me. My shyness, I couldn't overcome it. So I just decided to go straight to a gym, and that completely changed my life. So that's another thing to think about. Gyms are going to have more crash mats and things, so you don't kill yourself. But yeah, like I said, just because you don't have crash mats or whatever doesn't mean you can't learn how to trick. You can trick outdoors and wherever works for you. I think what's more important is that you're training on a regular basis. So whatever you need to do to train on a regular basis, wherever you need to go, I think that's most important. Tricking with friends is good because with your friends you can improve together. You know, you can learn tricks together. You can help each other out. It's kind of nice having a tricking buddy or multiple friends. If you run into other trickers, that's awesome too, because trickers are always down to hang out with other trickers for sure. It's kind of a tight-knit community, so it's really fun. When you are sessioning though, keep in mind that other trickers who are more experienced aren't there to hold your hand necessarily. That's not to say that trickers won't help you, but sometimes when you see other experienced trickers doing really hard stuff, you can be intimidated. Don't be. Everyone's there just to have a good time. Likewise, no one's going to hold your hand, walk you through every little step how to trick. Not to say that there aren't trickers that can't help you. Well, I know loads of trickers who love helping people. I mean, why do you think I do this, right? So on top of that, having a community, having a group that you can regularly train with is going to be something that really keeps you going. It's something that it's a big deal for a lot of people. I'm kind of a lone wolf, kind of myself. I just like tricking on my own. But a lot of people like having a group, and it really builds a community and it keeps you going. It gives you something to go for. It's important not to trick when you're fatigued, meaning you don't want to trick for a really long time and keep going really hard. Like if you've been tricking for 5-6 hours, you might want to take it easy, not be throwing your hardest tricks. This doesn't mean that you shouldn't be tricking when you don't feel like it on days that you should be tricking, right? If you feel like you're fatigued or you're just not in the mood to go to a session on a day when you haven't tricked in a few days, you might want to just go anyway. I have a lot of these days, and I make myself go to the gym. Usually it always turns out to be a great session, and I leave the gym happier than when I came into the gym. Muscle soreness is something that a lot of beginners get, and something I had quite a bit when I first started tricking. One thing that helped me get over it is I just kind of tricked through it. If I was sore, I usually wouldn't trick to make that particular muscle group any more sore. I'd kind of trick around it, but regardless, I would trick, sore or not. It didn't seem to affect my tricking too much, and especially once I got the blood flowing, the soreness went away a bit, and eventually, now I almost never get sore. If you feel like you are getting any injuries, I've got a section of the website that can help you with that, and it's essentially conditioning. Long story short is if you have an injury in the joints in particular, you want to strengthen the muscles around it. That's kind of how it works. That's kind of the trick I've used to get over all my injuries, and I'm injury-free most of the time. I feel like I'm a pretty injury-free tricker comparatively. Oh yeah, two things I forgot to mention: duration and intensity. For duration, you want your sessions to be about 1 to 3 hours, including your warm-up. I typically train until I feel tired, exhausted, and I can't expel any more energy seriously. I can't throw any more big tricks. That's when I know to stop. But if I'm feeling good, I just keep sessioning until I'm worn out. In terms of intensity, I think for the most part you should be tricking more during your session. I like to have relatively intense sessions, and I think keeping your body moving and throwing as many tricks as you can per session is going to help you the most, because you're at the session to trick. You're not there to think about it and try to figure out how to land a trick. Just go out there, fall a bunch of times, and learn. I think a good rule of thumb is to be almost out of breath. If you're not out of breath at all, you should be throwing tricks. If you feel like you're really out of breath, then take a little bit of a break. But finding that balance, I think, is good. Having being just on the edge of out of breath is where you want to be. So for me, I don't usually take breaks for more than a minute, 60 seconds. We all have lives outside tricking. We all have things we got to do. We all have jobs, school, parents, whatever, other things, things, priorities. And it's up to you to make tricking a priority if you want it to be. I think that's really the thing that really got me into tricking. The more I did it, the more I got interested in it, and the better I got. and the more fun it became. But in order to do that, I had to make it a part of my life. I had to make it a regular thing, something I did on a regular basis. It all comes back down to training consistently, just training on a regular basis. As long as you're training 3 times a week, all is well. That's pretty much it for my training, how to train tutorial. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.